gonna do it because I'm not special. I may be special to you, which is the beautiful thing about the relationships. But in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the game, sorry, I've just been watching a lot of Wire lately.
Yeah.
Nobody's special, no one's exempt,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of it. But
Hmm.
the simple thing that I'm learning that separates who I want to be from everyone else is the action. So
And we'll be back in three, two, one. We gone. Welcome back, family, to another episode of the First Sip Podcast. And we're back, and I'm bringing back somebody who hasn't been here in a couple weeks. Jared, I don't remember the exact last episode we were on, but I know it wasn't too long. So welcome back, my
yeah,
brother. Welcome back.
it feels good to be back, man. Thanks. Yeah, it feels good to be back.
So I wanted to jump right into it because you were telling me you were feeling a little sluggish from last night because you were doing a little pre-celebration.
Mm.
So what was that looking like?
Uh, well, yeah, pre-celebration was just something I said to like kind of like justify going out on Mondays. So uh yeah, Mondays are my Fridays. So it was just kind of like it was a real trying and challenging week. So my buddy and I, who's also in business for himself, we call that we're getting cooked Mondays, where we just kind of like decompress from the challenges from the previous week.
Hmm.
So yeah, we had some adventures last night. So I'm sorry if I'm not my normal perky self. I'm excited
It's
to
okay.
be here,
It's
but
okay.
yeah, just recovering a little bit
Mhm.
right now.
Listen, man, we all gotta celebrate every now and then. I
Hmm.
was telling you you might want to start with some coffee, but it seems like you're sipping on what are you sipping on right now?
Water, water, water.
Just straight water. That's it.
Just
That's it.
straight water.
Yeah. I got black coffee right now, so that's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as this is done, that's what I'm gonna grab.
Yeah, man, I need this to start that. I don't know if I really need it or if it's more so I just like it's so routine now
Yeah,
where it's just like because I don't even know if I like the taste of coffee and stuff like that.
I
You
feel
ever
you.
you ever think about that?
I do
Like
too. Yeah, I do too. I'm in the same boat. Um, Honestly, it's the placebo for me.
okay,
It's like like I know it's not going to wake me up, but like I've just conditioned. So it's like Pavlov's dog. I just feel
okay.
like I'm tired. Let me get some coffee, and
Here
then
we
it
go.
just yeah, here we go. So
Another day right back at it. Might as well go through the
yeah,
motions.
but I honestly I do think the smell of coffee wakes me up. Hence, wake up and smell the coffee. So like literally, there've been times I'll go to Wawa, um, I'll buy a cup of coffee, just smell it, pay for it, smell it, and then just throw it out. Like
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's definitely crazy. That's yeah. I hope you don't do that too often.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no. Not too often, but I've done it
yeah,
enough, and then they're like, "Sir," I'm like, "Don't worry about it." It's like
it's okay.
it's a me, it's a me thing. It's a
I'm
me
gonna get
thing.
through this. I'm gonna get through this. Don't
Yeah,
worry, guys. Don't worry
yeah,
about me. So,
yeah,
speaking of getting through it, you are finishing your first year in the real estate game as a real estate agent,
yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
So, talk to me about that.
Oh man, thank you. So yes, so this is next week. A week from today, we're recording. I'll actually have completed my first year
Hmm.
of being a realtor full time. Um, Honestly, I can't believe I'm actually saying that right now. Especially, with, the challenges and everything, that's going on today. So it's just one of those things where it's like if I were to look back on myself a year ago before I decided to take the leap, I would have definitely called you crazy. But it's just something I never thought I'd be able to ever say. So I'm just tremendously grateful. It's just
Mm.
something I never thought I'd ever get to say. Of course, there's a long way to go, but I just feel like if I could do the first year, I could do any year.
Yeah. And so, tell me, with this first year, like, what's been one of the biggest highlights that you can remember?
Oh man, honestly, joining Keller Williams. When we last
Mm.
met, I was at a different brokerage.
Hmm. Yeah.
I was at a different brokerage. Just started, and well, not just started, but that's when I first started full time. full time, and joined Keller Williams. And then I joined the team that I'm on, the Premier Home Team. Hey, Robin, shout out to Robin and the group and the gang. And then they're also partnered with this real estate platform called Place. So it's just been phenomenal, just to help the resources and the accountability and the coaching. It's been awesome. So I'd honestly say the day I switched brokers over to Keller Williams, I signed on with the
Hmm.
team, did everything all in the same day.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say my highlight was meeting my team lead, Robin. We were supposed to just talk about prospecting for 30 minutes because I didn't know what that was. So somebody connected us, and we ended up talking for like 2.5 hours. And I was just like, sign me up.
Mm.
Just sign me up. And of course, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I'll definitely say that's been the major highlight um, thus far.
Okay. So, I got to go on the other side as well.
Hmm.
What has been the biggest challenge then in the first year?
Honestly, myself, I the thing that I learned thus far is I can't speak for any other business, but at least speak for real estate. Or in sales in general, I'll say in sales in general,
Hmm.
it's you versus you every day. I think the days I don't feel like it, the days I don't feel like I'm good enough, um, it does get a little harder and harder, but I think becomes a little bit more manageable. Um, so yeah, I'll definitely say the biggest challenge has definitely, been myself and embracing fear every day.
Mm.
You know, I'll definitely say that's been the biggest challenge so far because it's scary.
Oh
It's
yeah.
scary. The rejection is scary. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like it's. I'll say this: I've never felt so vulnerable ever in my life
Mm.
until I decided to take this leap. Like the only thing that's protecting me is the clothes I have on. That's it. Like outside of that,
Yeah.
um, I'm out here.
Hmm. And like
So
what?
that'll
Yeah.
definitely be my biggest challenge would definitely be myself and my fears and my limiting beliefs.
Mm. So, when you talk about that vulnerability and the fear, like, what is it? Is that specifically with the prospecting and, like you said, like, what's the like? I want to drill down to that because that's a
Hmm.
conversation I've been having recently
Hmm.
with someone else as well, and I'm like, what is that thing, right, that like comes up when you go to reach out? Like, what do you? Is it just the fear of them saying no, I don't want to work with you, or is it a fear of like, oh, they're gonna like curse me out, on the phone, or like, damn, this person might like come find me? Like, how far does it go for you in your mind with that like fear?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's the natural people pleaser in me, um, where it's like the challenge of overcoming objections to get more information. Because see, me
Mm.
personally, like as crazy as it sounds, like I actually look forward to getting cursed out because that way I have the excuse of, hey, they didn't want to talk to me.
That's how I feel about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we're done here.
yeah,
Okay,
we're done. Hey, don't worry, don't worry. I'll never call you again. Like, don't worry, I'll never call you again. Like,
white
so
scrubbed from the books.
yeah, exactly. So as weird as it sounds, like when I'm calling somebody I haven't forged the rapport with, I'm like either A, please don't pick up, or B, if you do, just say you're not. Like I said, it's the fear.
Mm.
So when it's not the immediate rejection,
Hmm.
it's like I said, like it's like the people pleaser in me, like so when you're talking to people about real estate or even like trying to forge rapport or build
Hmm.
rapport over the phone and they don't know you from a can of paint, so like not caving in into the discomfort is what scares me the most because
Hmm.
I feel like I'm annoying them. Like that's
Yeah.
my biggest thing. Like I feel like I'm annoying them. So it's just the like that, like once again that limiting belief of all right, I'm annoying them. I'm not gonna ask them why they're not interested or why they're not like or why they gave up on
Hmm.
on the search or you know I'm not gonna ask them any of that because I feel like I'm bothering. So let me just hurry up and hang up.
Oh,
So
100%. That's why I asked, because that's exactly what usually goes through my mind. I'm like,
mhm.
these people probably got other stuff going on. You know what I mean? They probably already have people for this, right? So
Right.
why am I calling? And
Yeah.
going up, like you said, they don't know me from a can of paint. Like what what makes me think they're going to choose me just from a random
Right.
phone call?
Right. Right.
And especially like when I first got into sales, that was my biggest fear. I'm sitting there, I'm
Mhm.
like, y'all just want me to go through these numbers and just start reaching out to random people I've never met before who don't know who I am and try to get them to like spend money with me.
Mhm.
Explain how that works, right? Because it
Right.
just seems so foreign from my mind. Because it didn't seem like something I would do, right? Me
Right.
personally, like I was like, I don't seem like the person who, if somebody calls me right now, I'm gonna come out of my pocket, to say, oh yeah, let's do this deal right now. There would have to be some
Mhm.
other relationship building going into it. And
Mhm.
as I was like getting into sales more and more, I kind of made that switch, right? Where I realized and said, okay, it's not trying to close it right here on the phone because one, I hate like those kind of like hard sales environments. So when I
Yeah.
finally got into a role, right, where it's like, okay, this is just like the initial start of building that relationship, right? Like we were talking about, like this is the first connection. This is just my initial outbound reach, right? Where I'm just saying, hey, I'm here. I see that you might need my services, or I wanted to find out if you do. Let me know how I can help you, right, in the future.
Mhm.
And then you take it
Mhm.
from there. Like you said, if they curse you out, they curse you out. If they say, oh, maybe not right now, but follow up with me in 2 months, to me, that's like the golden ticket, right? Like that's like
Yeah.
okay, you've opened the door, you've allowed me to shake your hand and say, oh wow, okay, we might be able to build something here, and it just keeps the wheel moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's the way I try to look at it now, where I don't think it is so much as like you have to get them on the phone, close the deal, get the appointment, do all the steps in 30
Yeah.
minutes. It's take it step by step, build a relationship, and see what can come out of this over the long term. But
Absolutely.
yeah, because if like I said, if we keep thinking about it like, oh well, damn, like I gotta try to do this right now, it becomes so scary.
Yeah.
Like you said, you feel like a bother, especially if you're not that person who's just if you're a person who actually cares about the people you're talking to, then it's probably going to pop up in your mind about whether or not you're bothering them. So
Right.
that's definitely why I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah.
Now, as we move forward, though, into the next year, what is
Mhm.
something that you're looking to really improve on?
I'll definitely say consistency. I definitely want to be more consistent and organized, especially when it comes to, time blocking effectively, you know, um, for things for my business and even servicing clients and even in my personal life. I'll be honest, when I really started to learn, like so honestly, before I joined Keller Williams and the team I'm on, I really didn't know how it worked,
Mm,
so um as my business became my life, I'll be honest, like that's something I had to accept. Like my business is my life right now, probably for the unforeseeable future.
yep.
It's like time blocking is critical, and that's the only way. Like I don't believe in work-life balance. Like that's something I gave up on a long time ago, but that doesn't mean you can't make time for the things outside of the business, like your friends and
Yeah.
family. So I definitely want to work on doing what I have to do so that way, when it's time to spend time with my loved ones, I can carve out that time unbothered. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
one thing to, hey, mom, let's hang out, and it's like you're on the phone, like you're just better off, like going to the office. So that's something. And then honestly too, just taking more risks, just going after clients and areas and neighborhoods where I feel like I'm unqualified for, so
Hmm.
I definitely take some full court shots. Like in the next year, I think it's just gonna be um I'm just gonna start shooting from full court,
Yeah.
Like I think the layups and the foul shots are great, but I definitely want to put myself out there more in areas and environments where, I have to compete a lot more.
Hmm.
So yeah. I'm looking to fail bigger, if that makes sense. Like I want to time
Oh
block
yeah.
effectively
Hmm.
and I want to fail bigger.
I want to stay on that point there about failing bigger because that's something that I've been toying around with as well, right? Just this idea of experimenting more
Hmm.
and getting comfortable with, okay, if I'm gonna let me just try it. If anything doesn't work out, then I'll know what to tweak. I'll adjust from there and then I'll move forward. But if I sit there and just keep playing, like you said, whether you want to call it playing small or just keep playing the game you know how to play, you're going to keep being in the same spot, right? Like you know how to dominate or win that game,
Mhm.
and it's not helping you elevate or grow anymore. So what can you do? You
Mhm.
got to try something, risk something, and say, okay, well, damn, that didn't really work out the way I thought it was going to work, but now I can take a step back, take some feedback from it, and see what I need to do now.
Mhm.
And yeah, so when you said that, I'm like, that is, I feel like that is the name of the game right now, especially with, as the landscape of being an agent changes. I know you've probably been following the news, with the commission lawsuits and all those things that
Mhm.
are happening. People saying, we'll see more people leave the industry, we'll see more people having to step up and really deliver on their message, right? And what it is that they provide. I think that's where, like I said, for people like me and you who are also new in the industry, we're going to have to start learning and adapting very fast, right?
Mhm.
Because I think there's going to be that divide between people who say like, I don't really want to risk it and take the time to learn and invest my money into this, or that. So let me just tap out and forget it, right? But
Mhm.
it sounds like you you have that risk tolerance and you have to develop it even more.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm just like I said, becoming more comfortable with. Where it's like, yo, you gotta start doing some stuff that you may not have been doing over the past couple of years because what you've done over the past couple of years is why you are where you are now,
Mhm.
right? So it's what can we do? Is it going to X amount of events now? Is it doing a certain amount of open houses? Is it connecting with more people, through the podcast and different industries and trying to network and gain referrals in business that way? So just thinking outside the box, right, and doing things that we haven't done before, I think will
Mhm.
be so beneficial for us.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
so like what do you think about that? Like with the way things are shaping up now, like it's definitely going to be tougher to be an agent, right, and continue to build a business. So what like as far as you said, building out the systems, right, and making sure you have those things on the back end too, is that another thing that you feel equipped with, or is that like something that's taken care of, like with the brokerage?
So yeah, once again, shout outs to
Hmm.
the best brokerage in the whole wide world and the best team in the whole wide world.
Hmm.
We were talking about it like so. Not that this is funny, but I learned my lesson when COVID came about. Because
Hmm.
when COVID first became a thing, it was like, oh, that's happened on the other side of the world. Like
Yeah,
that's
we
not
thought.
gonna.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Like we don't got to worry about that.
Hmm.
Then it broke out in California. Oh,
Yep.
oh yeah, that's over there. It ain't gonna happen. Then 2 weeks later, hey guys, like we're shutting everything down, and I was
Hmm.
just I was unprepared. But the great thing about the brokerage and even my team, the team I'm on, and the partnership they have with Place, we were talking about it, planning for it for a while. And honestly, is it going to be more challenging? I think so. But one thing I learned about all great businesses is that it's all about pivoting. It's all about pivoting and adjusting
Hmm.
and being flexible.
Yeah.
Especially with agents that have been doing it. Like, I always say, like, if you've been doing it since '08, like you've seen everything.
Hmm.
Like, this might be new, but so I just said, like, hey, this is my opportunity to kind of like get my battle scars to say, like, hey, yeah, like I was an
Yeah.
agent during this time, so that's one reason why I'm excited. And
Yeah.
then from a selfish perspective, I as much as I love and encourage everybody, to get involved in real estate in some capacity, I, I will be honest. I'm excited for the herd to be thinned out. It's a definitely a great time to show and express value and take market share. So it's
Hmm.
something like honestly. I'm excited about it, you know, and even what I think it's going to do for transparency for the consumers, and I think that's what it's really all about at the end of the day. So it was funny. The main thing that I know what people are freaking out about is one, I think a lot of people that are talking about it aren't either A, don't know it well enough to explain what it really means.
Hmm.
So I think people are panicking for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Um, and two, I think it's a great thing for the buyers. Hey, like this is how the compensation is earned. And it's
Hmm.
funny. I've always had that conversation with clients, like,
Yeah.
hey, in the event that the seller doesn't offer a commission, I'm going to like, the expectations that's going to come from you.
Hmm.
But you can be rest assured I'm going to earn every penny of that. So it's like if you have to call me at 3 in the morning because you have questions or you're freaking out, if we have to see 100 houses, like
Hmm.
if you have to terminate, you know, if you have to terminate deals, like I'm gonna do what I have to do, you
Hmm.
know. So I think the day is not yet, but I'm excited. It's a great opportunity to educate the buyers and even in some cases educate the sellers. And I just think the days are gone of just being able to show somebody a house and then nobody sees you again until it's at the closing table. I think that's about to not be a thing anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
So like I said, I'm glad I got in around this time because I don't know anything, I don't know any different other than being,
Hmm.
vocal and transparent with your clients. So it's like I don't know
That's
any
yeah.
different, you
That's
know.
exactly how I felt about it too. Because, like you said, when you come in just learning a certain way, it's you know that system, right? So I remember
Yeah.
even when I was starting out asking certain agents if they used, the buyer agency agreements and those kind of things. Right. So for anybody who's listening and it's like, okay, well, what are they talking about right now? Basically, like when you start working with an agent, they're supposed to go over this agreement with you that says, hey, listen, this is how I'm paid. This is the process we'll go through. If it can't get paid this way, then this is some things we can do, right, to take care of these things.
Hmm.
Basic conversation, right, that you would expect to have in the beginning. Unfortunately, some people weren't having this conversation and they didn't really know that they could negotiate how much they were going to compensate their agent,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So that's basically the bare minimum of it.
Yeah.
But I also, like I said, remember over the past year when I first started hearing about this and realizing that there's not many people who actually are following this news or who even think this is like relevant. Um, and I'm like, okay, well, that's also interesting because what happens when the time comes like now, when it seems like if this gets finalized, what will happen when you have to pivot and
Yeah.
make those moves and adjust? And like you said, in business, that is one of the most important things I realize is being able to do that quickly and not being so stagnant
Yeah.
in what it is or what it is you're currently doing. Because if you do, then you're going to be a part of that herd that gets thinned out,
And then
and you're
yeah.
going to be looking at it and be like, yo, how didn't I
How
catch
did
the
I
wave?
plan for this? Yeah.
Yeah, like why didn't I? Well, it's like, well, you should have probably listened to the people who were telling you, like, yo, we should probably have some sort of contingency plan or start doing some other things to build up in different areas, or maybe we should start plugging the gaps in this area because it's going to expose us eventually, right?
Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
we're going to lose business here because we are operating in a certain way, and we haven't, like we said before, we haven't elevated what we know to do.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm excited to see, and why, man, I've just been looking for so much information lately. Just like you
No,
said, trying to
same.
educate myself and just saying, okay,
Yeah.
what do I need to do? What conversations do I need to be having with, like I said, with people on the podcast, with my clients in person, just to keep spreading the information. Because, like I've said it to you before, I'm a big believer that if you keep providing the information, keep providing that service, then people will look at you and being like, okay, that's my go-to person. This
Hmm.
person is somebody I
Hmm.
know I can trust and has my best interest at heart. So let me continue to work with them.
And
Right.
that's what
So
it's all about, and and I just think, like I would say this is like what one of, not I say this, but one of my real estate mentors, he actually took me under his wing, and actually helped me get my first few deals.
mm,
He always said like when people pay, they start paying attention. So, you know,
I've heard that.
um,
Yep. Hmm.
so I just think it's, buyers are about to be a lot more educated on how it really works, so
Hmm.
one, I've never advertised my services for free,
Hmm.
in the event that we lock in something and they have to pay. So the old saying, "Oh yeah, man, you don't have to pay for any." That's not true
Yeah.
because
Yep.
even then, for example, let's say we're going through a deal and you say, "Oh, you don't have to pay anything," and then you get to and then, "Oh, I have to pay for the inspection. I have to pay for the appraisal. I have
Hmm.
to." But you said it was free, so
Hmm.
it's and and what I'm learning, the one thing I'm learning about real estate in general, both from as a realtor and even putting myself on the same side as the table with my clients. It's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a scary vulnerable but well rewarding journey and
Mhm.
process. You know what I mean? And what I'm learning is a lot of what it is that I do and what I enjoy doing, but also terrifies me deep down inside is I'm helping people navigate that fear of, and navigate that fear to help them make the best decision for them and their family while they navigate, statistically speaking, the most expensive purchase they're going to
Yeah.
make in a lifetime,
Mhm.
So it's scary, but it's a privilege and an honor, and that's how I look at it. It's
Mhm.
just like, of course, don't get me wrong, getting paid is amazing,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But it's scary. So when the consumer sees the news and then and the fear mongers of like, hey, this was going on, but it's like, no, this is the time to really get belly to belly with someone that you can really trust. And now, honestly speaking, with what I think is going to happen, with the agents that continue to show value, is I think people are going to want realtors more than ever now.
Mhm.
It's like I think you have the value. People are going to want to pay you because it's scary.
Yeah, and it
Like
simplifies the process. It's like anything
yeah,
else. Yeah.
it's not just paper pushing. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
Jared, like, what is the earnest money deposit? Oh my goodness, like, what
Yeah.
happens if I don't, what
And I
happens if the
think
deal
but
doesn't go through,
and honestly, that's where I see and bro, I say it almost every other week now, and that's why I'm such a big believer in video marketing and people
Hmm.
putting out content over the next couple of years because if people realize like, "Oh, you actually do have good information that I can use,"
Yeah,
right? Think of how much time that is gonna cut down from them having to go through the interview, is this person competent in what they're talking about? Is this person somebody that I'm gonna like working with? You can save so much time and break down those walls, right? As opposed to the person who's just gonna go through it, like we were talking about before, just making the calls, right? Trying to get those clients and trying to explain to them your value in that way, right? So,
hmm,
because that's another thing people are gonna hear about. Oh, well, agents keep saying, oh, they got to show their value, and make sure they have a good value proposition. The amount of times I've heard value proposition over the last 2 months has been insane, right?
hmm,
And I'm like, guys, we got to give it a little bit more substance in that, right?
yeah,
What does that value really look like for people? And that's the thing I'm excited to see because I don't think a lot of people have an answer for that. And at the end of the day, it's going to be like, okay, well, I think if we change like value, right, and just be like, "Yo, what's your differentiator? Like, what are you doing
yeah,
that's going to be a little bit different, right? Like, what's your sauce that you're putting on this process, or how are you streamlining this process a lot better than the next person, right? Or do you just have tight enough standards where that's what people are looking for, right? A tight enough
yeah,
system where it's like you go to a fast food restaurant. Well, let's not relate it to fast food, right? But you go to a very nice, high end restaurant and their systems are just cooking, right? From the person who comes in and greets you at the door to the person who is now seating you, and your waiter is so attentive that you never have to second guess anything. Just like you're saying, hey, if you need me, I'm already there before you know you need me,
yeah, yeah,
right? How can you show people that type of value without them even having to before you have that initial conversation? I'm like, that's something I'm interested to see now from the because once again, it's all a game of like how are we presenting ourselves, right? How are we marketing
absolutely,
ourselves to our potential next client? So that is like I said, that's another area I'm really looking to dive into and say, we got to double down on this. We got to, figure out more education. We got to invest in different tools to really do that stuff too. Because, like we said, as new agents, we can't get drowned out in the game, right, and
yeah,
act like we have huge market share compared to other people who do, right,
yeah,
who have been doing this for
a long
decades.
time, yeah.
So yeah.
And that's where I give the shout out to my my team lead,
Hmm.
because that's what we were working on for a while. Now that's what scared me too. When I first did the leap full time, I was like, I don't know what makes me different. I don't know why. I was like, I don't know what would make someone want to work with me as opposed to other people. And I said, and this is actually what made me want to take the leap into, joining the Keller Williams and join the team that I'm on. It was like,
Hmm.
honestly, like my first three deals I did, I got lucky. It was like
Mm.
right. It was literally
Bro, I'm right
all
there with you.
right place, right time, which
Yep.
comes with it. You know what I mean? Like which
Hmm.
comes with it, but it was literally right place,
Hmm.
right time. Like I just happened to have been in the office of my mentor. Two people came in and he was like, "Hey, I got a realtor for you." Like
Oh wow.
it
Okay.
just happened to
Yeah.
be right place, right time. And so when I after I did those deals, and I was just like literally like I don't know if I told you the story on here before, but when I did my first two deals and I got the checks, I did not cash them for like 2.5 weeks. I because for me, that's when I realized like it wasn't the like yes, the money was great, but like that's when I realized like um it wasn't the money that drove me, like I
Hmm.
literally like kept the checks got all wrinkly. It was nasty. Like it looked like they were in my back pocket for like
Yeah.
years. Like I did not cash them. And then that's when a good uh the first person actually called me when I got my license, Andrew Polina, he called me. He was
Okay.
actually
Yeah.
he taught me about follow up. It's
Mhm.
that's probably a story for another day. Like he is like the best at follow up. Um, and then that's when he talking about prospecting and make sure the pipeline was full. And I was like, that's what I'm missing. I was like, I
Mhm.
always want to have something to work on. I was like, that's it. The money will follow. Yeah, so it's
That's such a
just
hard thing to like come to grips with, like to grasp though, is the idea that yo, this prospecting I'm doing right now may not convert for the next 6 months or a year.
or a year or two
And
years, you
you
know.
you talk about long term thinking. It is a huge shift, and you start asking yourself though, like you're saying, what do I do in the interim? Because if you're just starting out, you got to make money, right? You can't
Yeah,
wait 6 months to close a deal. You can't wait a year to close a deal.
yeah.
Right.
I,
So I mean, we've talked about this off the podcast. So like what recommendation do you have for people who are starting out in really any business, right? Because that's I think applicable to anybody, not just in real estate. Like they might be starting out, yeah, let's just say any business. And you have those first few months, maybe that first year where you're not making any money, the first 2 years, 3 years. Statistically, many small businesses don't, most of them don't make money. Right. So
yeah.
what would you say to somebody who's trying to keep their head above water?
I would say this. Save that money. If you're working a job, um in tandem with, so I would say these are the three things you should do at the same time. Save your money. I would say 6 months worth of expenses, and then while you're doing that, start researching brokerages, and teams. And then while you're doing the search, I would just like honestly, as it may be controversial, I wouldn't care about the splits your first year. I like you, hey, like, oh, they're offering 70/30, but the team, if the brokerage and the team is offering 50/50, but they give you way more resources
Yeah.
to help get your business off the ground, which is what it is. I'll give like I'm at the point of my life now where if it meant getting more market share, more clients, more business, if it had to be a 30/70, but
Hmm.
I'm making more off the 30%,
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I'm going to do that. So I know a lot of like I said, I don't have anything against anybody, but the thing about this business I'm learning is all about leverage. So if you
Yeah.
can't
Hmm.
leverage a 100% model, and bro, shout outs to the agents and the businesses that can, I support that. But if you're starting off, your career and you don't have the resources, the pipeline, or the knowledge or wherewithal to leverage, a hands-off system,
Hmm.
just hey, like
Yeah, it's a lot to learn, and that's the thing
yeah.
that um
Oh, and
I
networking. I'm
yeah
sorry, networking would be the third thing. Like build
yeah
relationships, like and build and
hmm
build, continue to build relationships.
yeah
But yeah, those are three things I'll say.
yeah, because those relationships are going to be the ones where now they're calling you, like, hey, can you help out this? Do you have client for this? Whatever it is, so that's definitely huge. Make sure you're building smart relationships and
Hmm.
not just showing up at every networking event just to say you showed up at every networking event. Right, be strategic with it because you can definitely waste a lot of time in that
Yeah,
first year.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I've also recommended to people to, don't be afraid to like get a side job and you got a lot of time throughout the day where you are not going to be doing anything productive and you're going to be sitting around scratching your head. It's like, I probably could have did something with these 4 or 5 hours today where I sat around. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
those 4 or 5 hours can be the difference between you being able to sustain yourself over those months and those years where you are still figuring things out. And I
Mhm.
think that's something that like you said, because the vanity of it, right? You don't see a lot of those things on social media or on people do their interviews, right? Or get on those podcasts and they say, "Oh yeah, well I hopped in the business, and my first year I closed $250,000 in commission, and I closed $10 million in sales in my first 6 months." That sounds great, right? But
That
then
sounds
it's like,
great.
yo, can we talk about the other 95% of people?
Yeah,
What did that reality look like, right? Like
yeah,
what did you do? Because those stories are great and it sounds, I'm happy for those people, but how can we make this more tangible and realistic for the majority of people, right?
hmm
Though I was talking to my brother the other day about that whole concept of the 80-20, right? Where you have 20% of the people creating 80% of the production. And this is like a statistic that's true in so many different
yeah,
fields.
yeah,
And I'm always wondering, I'm like, what is the difference? What is the thing that 80% didn't know that that 20% knew? Or what is it like you were talking about earlier on? It's like consistency, right? Time blocking.
yeah,
What are
yeah,
those little things, right, that people aren't telling us that, okay, just follow this long enough. It's not going to be, overnight, but follow this long enough and you'll start seeing some success. And like you were saying, sometimes it is that simple, but people want to like gatekeep information or keep things close to the chest and be like, oh no, this is my secret. It's like, bro, no, it's not. The secret isn't in that little thing there. It's in the consistency of what you're doing, right? So just give me that sauce so I can, you know, start working on my system and build my business and everybody wins. But so many people don't look at it that way.
yeah. You know what I learned? Because I learned I'll be honest that if it wasn't like because one my first year I'll be honest like I did like I'm not gonna be making that much money, but it's everything that
Hmm.
came along the way that made it worth it. But I
Hmm.
realized so once again, shout out the place. Uh, so I'm gonna explain place really quick, and then I'm gonna tie it into what I found out about that sauce you're talking about. So place is a culmination of the top 1% performing teams in real estate across the country under one umbrella. So now, mind you, when I joined my team, I like I'll be honest, I didn't care about the 1%. Like I just
Hmm.
like love my team lead, and I was like, sign me up. Like I was like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Um, but and so being under the umbrella where we learn like and we learn, we motivate, and we're encouraged by the great people that founded Chris Suarez and Ben Kinney and of what goes into being that 20% that does, or in this case, that 1%, but for the sake of the statistic, that 20% that has 80% of everything. And
Hmm.
it's just taking action. And there's and the thing I learned about real estate is what I'm learning is everybody's always trying to sell a shortcut. Oh, prospect, door knock, open houses. Oh, call your sphere. Oh, there's no shortcut. And that's the humbling thing about it. It's like literally, if you want to be a successful agent, you could literally Google it. What do I have to be the successful agent? It's going to tell you 10
Right.
things. And but this is why I said that what I learned about the first year, it's
Yeah.
you versus you. When you see those 10 things and they're simple things, like and that's the fascinating thing about this business is like you see it, open house, door knock, tell people in your real estate, follow up. That just do it over and over. Oh man, nah, it has to be another way. So the
Hmm.
80% are busy trying now, not saying you might not find luck, keyword luck, doing it the other way. But the 20%, they're still doing the same thing. And what really sealed the deal for you, I'm sorry for talking loud, it's just really exciting.
Oh no, no,
So
no. Keep yeah, that's good.
um so when I joined Keller Williams and then we joined the Philadelphia, the Philly brokerage fell under one umbrella, KW Power One. I didn't know Philly and Philadelphia were two different brokerages, but
I was right
hey
there with you,
Vicky, hey
man. I was
Dan.
right there with you, scratching my head.
Hey
I'm like,
Vicky, hey Dan. um, but so everybody in real estate heard of Mike McCann. Like Mike McCann is like the super like it's unfathomable what this man has accomplished.
yeah.
So it's ridiculous. So um we were at the Christmas party and now before like before I got blasted, it's a company party. Um I got a chance to talk with them, and what I real and I'm going to the next thing, but and then I was like, hey, I was like, Mike, well, Mr. McCann, before he told me to call him Mike, he was like, I was like, what did you do to be where you're at? And he said, dude, like, he literally said this. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
curse because I'm trying to,
Mhm.
but he was
Mhm.
like, dude, I did all I did was effing open houses. I
Mhm.
was just like, so one, I wasn't expecting Mike McCann to be like so dynamic. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh shoot, like he's the
Mhm.
bro,
Yeah.
He was like, open houses, open houses, open houses. He was like, any free moment you have, he said, do an open house. And then I was just like, this is like the guy whose signs I see everywhere telling me to do open houses.
Mhm.
So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do open houses,
Yep.
you know, and that's another thing too with the team I'm on is what I love about it is like yeah, you can buy Zillow leads, um once again that's not what made me want to join my team. What I love about it is they teach how to self generate your own business.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of the things that people call archaic and outdated, and you don't need to do that. That's corny, and nobody cares about that. I'm telling you, this bleepity this ish works. It
Yep.
works. It works. Um and what made me um like I had to humble myself, and that was another thing about the first year is that like I'm not special. And that's my superpower. You know what I mean? Like I'm your average guy. I'm your
Mhm.
average realtor who just wants to provide great value. So when I realized, Jared, you're not different from anybody else. So what makes you think you're exempt from what the business calls for? Like
Like
once
doing the
I
work.
accepted, yeah,
Mhm.
once I accepted that, I was like, listen, if it worked for them, it can work for me.
Mhm.
I'm not special. You know what I mean? And the difference between us and the 20% is the fact that they take action. They still call their sphere. They still door knock. They still do open houses. They host open houses at listings that aren't even theirs.
Mhm.
Which I didn't know was a thing till I got to, you know,
Yeah.
hey, and like, oh, but how do you get open houses? My thing when I first came to KW before I even joined my team is I did showings for other agents. Hey, if you
Yep.
can't make your showing, I'll do your showing for you.
Bro, and I'll tell you another one that I
Yeah.
do, right, that I tapped into, um, is about a year ago, I realized when I'm doing, like, showings or tours of, like, other people's listings, like you're saying, I will get a video walkthrough
Yeah.
and, right, like, talk to the agent and be like, "Hey, listen," especially if our client didn't go ahead and, lease or go through with the deal, then it's, "Hey, listen, we had this video, I chopped it up, I did a really good walkthrough for you. Would you mind if I marketed this for you, right, and put it out there?" Bro, I've never had anybody say, "No, I don't want you to help me market my listing."
Bro, yeah. Like,
And think about you putting this stuff up now, because I used to sit there and scratch my head just like, "Yo," I'm like, "How are these people getting in all these houses?" You know what
yep,
I mean?
same here.
Especially the
Yep.
agents who are good at marketing. I'm like, "How are they getting in
Yeah.
all these houses and getting these videos? I need to
Yeah.
figure this stuff out."
And all you
Right?
have to do is ask. You know what I mean?
Bro, I remember, and then, bro, I just went on a tear. I just started mapping out these listings, right? Going through my clients. I'm like, okay, do my video walkthrough, message the agent. Hey, listen, I did this video. You can post it. Would you mind if I post it as well? And they were like, oh yeah, go right ahead. And then you just start building the pipeline as well from there too. So I'm like you said, those little things that you just do, and once you can stick to something and make it a part of your system, oh my gosh,
Yeah, dude,
it.
I love open houses. Like that's
Hmm.
my thing. Like I love
Hmm.
open houses. Like, because for me, I'll be honest, the phone terrifies me, man.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
hate the phone.
Hmm.
Like I can't explain it. Like this terrifies me.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? This terrifies me. So there'll be times literally during my prospecting hours, Robin, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I will literally stare at my phone for 30 minutes
Mm.
before I make my first dial. But I love people like that. Like, like that's the thing. And so
Bro,
my thing is like,
somebody needs to
mhm,
hear that right now, because I
yeah,
know people are sitting there who are in the sales position who gotta do some sort of outreach for their business, and they're like, "Yo,
you gotta
I
do
don't
it.
wanna
Fine.
make I don't wanna make
Yeah,
this contact, but I know this is the
I need
lifeblood
to.
of my business.
Yeah,
What is going on right now?" And
yeah.
that, like you said, that hesitation, that lack of action is the game changer, bro. The
Yeah.
differentiator, everything that we need to change and
It's
say, like,
action.
stop it. Stop right
Yeah.
now. I was saying this to my brother the other day. I turned it into a game. Like I have to gamify my prospecting if I'm doing cold calls or like outreach to like new leads like over the phone. I
Mhm.
have to make a game out of it. So I'll say like, yo, okay, in this hour, I got to get ten people knocked out. And then at the end of that 10, then I'll go ahead and do something else, right? Like I'll create a break for myself some way because
Yeah.
like you said, I even when I was back at the bank, I remember sitting there for the first hour of the day being in the office and looking back at me like I didn't make no calls. I didn't sit with
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah.
but thank God I'm getting paid by the hour because you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or else
Right.
this would have been a really unproductive morning. And
Yeah.
now when you're doing it on your own time and your own dime, it's like, oh
It's
wait,
different. You need it. You need
that
it.
that 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. I should be really productive. I should be doing something, some sort of
Mhm.
outreach. And if I'm not doing it, nobody's doing it.
Nobody's doing it.
Nope.
And when I so my motto is if it scares me, that means I should do it. Like literally like that's been my guiding light. So for example, so it's some cool so it like I don't want to say it's magic, but it's magic. Like when you do what scares you, like what you're supposed to do, like seriously,
Yeah.
something good always happens. So for
Bro,
example,
I'm
like
laughing because of how simple yet true that
it's
is.
magic. Like no, I'm
That's
serious.
such
Like
a funny way to put it. It's magic. It just is.
it just
It
happens.
just
Like so for example, our sauce that I learned is like so
Mhm,
when we do our open houses, yeah, we have the signs and stuff. I like we door knock like the
mhm,
neighbors, like we door knock 50 at a minimum 50 doors to be like, hey, we're
mm,
having an open house. So for me, the first 10 always scare me.
mhm,
Like the first 10 always scare me. But every time I door knocked, I always had a good open house. And
mhm,
the crazy thing is, it wouldn't even be the people whose doors I knocked. Like that's why I say it's magic. Like, like I'm telling you, one time I knocked like 50. No, one time I knocked 100 doors.
mm,
I think one person out of the 100 came, but I had like 10, 12 people show up. Like we were just in the neighbor, like, and then I don't want to say this person's name, but a very influential former government official actually came to one of my open houses.
mm.
Like he had just he just so happened to be at a house around the corner and saw
Down the
my
road, yeah.
sign. But I earned like I earned that moment because I did the door knocking, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? And so like it's magical. Like the thing about real estate, I think I get really excited about is that it where it punishes, it also rewards. You know what I mean?
mm,
And in order to get the reward, you gotta go through the punishment. You like and like I said, it's hard to not look at it like punishment right now because like there's just some things that absolutely terrify me. Like when I have to make calls to people I have not built the rapport yet. My armpits start sweating, my
yep,
lips get chapped, my mouth
yep.
gets dry,
I get this weird flutter,
my
like, right here. I'm like, "Oh
yeah,
god, there we
man.
go.
My no
There
matter
we
how
go."
much lotion I put on my hands get ashy,
Yep,
but it's like I said, it's a you versus you business, It's literally like, yeah, the deals, yeah, the clients, yeah, the prospecting, yeah, the opportunities, but literally the way I look at it every day is like, all right, I'm about to go into a boxing match with the person I was yesterday or the
mhm,
person I'm trying to overcome today. It's literally like I feel like every day it's future Jared getting in a match with present day Jared,
mhm,
and then it also ties into how your money is made. And one thing that my team lead says is he says the most important thing is tomorrow's money.
mm.
Like like that's how I had to retrain my brain. So I get excited. People, oh Jay, I'm not looking to buy for like 5 years. Cool.
Yeah.
Guess what? Let's keep in contact.
Let's
So
figure out what we
now
gotta do
five
over these
years,
next 5 years.
yeah, because all right, five
Mhm,
years from now, like that's a check,
mhm,
um, hey, Jared, I'm not looking to buy. So the beautiful thing is, I would say half the people I have in my pipeline were people that were like, hey, Jared, I'm not ready to buy for until a year from now. That was last year. Guess what? We're halfway through 2024.
mhm,
You know, so that's just the thing. And I'll be honest, like I accepted that this is hard. Like I don't wake up any day expecting an easy day. I don't go into any transaction expecting it to be an easy transaction. In fact, where most people get anxiety for from I don't know when my next where my next deal's coming from. My anxiety is when we go into contract.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be
It's like
honest, I came to that epiphany like when I was away on vacation. I was like, I get nervous when I see congratulations, you're on a I
under
get
contract,
like
yeah, because that's a
that's my
different.
scary.
That's like
Yeah,
you've now leveled up. It's like okay, now the final boss. Prepare.
yeah,
You're right, like
yeah. You
ready,
know what I
fight, and
mean?
it's like oh gosh, here we go.
And also too, and the reason why I think for me my fear is my greatest asset is that
Hmm.
it helps me stay on the same level with my clients, you know.
Hmm.
Um, like, Jared, what about this? And I'm like, I'm poised. Sorry, everybody, if you listen to this, I'm just giving you the transparent
Hmm.
story. Like, I may be calm on the outside, but I'm freaking out on the inside because
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to like I want to make this happen for you.
Hmm.
And the last thing I want to do is um like not deliver, but what I'm learning is you're also learning with your client too.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so that's how come I'm not afraid. Hey Jared, what do you think? Honestly, I don't know what to think, but let's see how
Hmm.
this played out for other people so that way we can have an idea of what's to come.
Doing the research, knowing where to
Doing
look.
the
Yeah.
research,
Hmm.
asking people that have been in the same situations,
Hmm.
and
But
and
that's a
you
big part
know,
of it, bro. Like think
mhm,
about like I think that's and I love how much we've talked about shifting, our perspective when it comes to starting out in new things with this episode.
mhm.
Because you think about if you were a lawyer, if you were a doctor, bro, you don't just hop in the field and know everything,
No, you don't.
right? You got to consult with people. You got lawyers read. I was saying that to my brother the other day. I was like, as much as I love to talk and debate and do all these things with people, right? People always told me when I was growing up, you should be a lawyer. I cannot. I don't know how they read that much. I don't know how they do all that stuff, and they have to go through so much information in such
Yeah,
a short amount of time,
yeah, yeah.
and just be able to recall like that, right? Or just have a team of people who can do that. So that's the thing I realized too. I think sometimes either we have this expectation or we think other people have this expectation of
That's what
us
it is. Yep.
that we need to know everything
Yeah.
right now and not understanding that there's so much power in being able to do that research, being able to
Yeah.
go out and find the answer or
Yeah.
knowing who to call for the answer.
Or
And
in
mhm.
some cases, falling on your face and be like, hey, now of course, within reason, but hey, I was wrong about this, and it's
Mhm.
actually XYZ. You know
Oh,
what I
well,
mean?
that's another layer of it, like too, like being able to own a misstep, right, and saying like, okay, well, we got to take a step back from here, but right, that just goes into like good communication skills, being like I said, being
Yeah.
able to own it. God, I like you said, you're taking me back to all those times and those other jobs I've had where you've had to call somebody to correct something, or because you misspoke on a certain situation, and you have to, like you said, just retrace and be like, okay, where did we go wrong here? And now let's
Yeah.
move forward. But
Yeah.
that, like you said, you build that with the through the conversations, through going through it. There's no other way
There's no
you're gonna
other
get that
way.
experience. And you like you were saying that before about the punishment and the reward. Where else doesn't that apply in life? Right? If you wanna like you said, if you wanna go and start dating, right? You gotta go or if you want to be in a relationship, you gotta start dating. You might get
You
some
have to
people who
put
tell
yourself out there, no matter what the form is.
right. Any guy
Oh,
who's gone to the bar or gone out, with his boys at night and said like, "Yo, I'm gonna try to talk to that girl." It is the same feeling you get when you have to cold call. It
or
it
even
is,
get clients. Yeah,
bro.
it
Like you
literally
sit there
feels
and get
like
that
that.
feeling. It's like, okay, here we go. Unless you really just have that level of just narcissism where you think you just got it like that,
But you
right?
know
And
what
you
it
just
is though? What I learned
yeah.
about that is people are that way
Hmm.
when whether it's dating or even in business is that and this is once again this is where like the 20% takes over everything to 80%,
Hmm.
right? They go for what doesn't scare them. Like, when you go to an
Oh yeah.
environment and like you're not worried about the rejection, me personally, I think that means it's not big enough goal. Or in some cases, all right, like the girl might not be, you know, at a level of prettiness um for you to be
Mm-hmm.
nervous. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Me personally, like if we want to take the date and like beautiful women, I still get nervous no matter what the capacity is.
Mm-hmm.
Not romantic anymore, but even in business, you know what I mean? Like, man, oh, look good, smell good, hey, it's
Mm-hmm.
nat. So it's just like, so to translate that into business, it's like, if this no doesn't like if this experience doesn't scare me, it's not big enough. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I learned about highly successful, high performing people. One, it's never going to be perfect. I'll tell you that much right now. Like, especially like when like and that's why I said, like, when it started about starting a business, all you have to do is get it right that one time. Like, there's people I've worked with, not gonna say any names, where they happen to have gotten it right that one time, like
Mm-hmm.
5 6 years ago, and they're doing everything wrong, but that one time they got it right has been getting them by still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, um, but what they continue to do is take on things that continue to scare them and fail their way up. So that's
Mm.
how come, if you're that person where you just pinpoint everything that's wrong, there's always going to be wrong stuff. But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a perfect environment. I say that to anybody too. If we want to circle it back to what you want to do in your first year of real estate, is don't go in with the expectation it's going to be perfect, because that brokerage is still figuring things out. That team you're on still figuring it out, your mentors still figuring it out, and you're still figuring it out. We're all trying to figure this thing called business out. But what I'm learning is, all right, cool, we got this now. Now we're gonna take on a bigger project. All right, great. We're gonna learn. We're gonna fail forward. We're gonna be wrong. And honestly, I learned, if you have time to pinpoint what other people are doing wrong, you're not doing enough.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah, it's easy to pick out flaws. You know what I mean? It's easy to be like, oh, this, of course, things could be better. Like, you know what I mean? But we here now, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And honestly, I have that same approach with clients, and especially first time home buyers. It's like, especially particular price points. Listen, it's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's not supposed to be. But you can make it yours. And that's what I'm learning life and business is all about, is going through what you have to go through, to make it yours. And once you get to a point where what you're doing doesn't scare you anymore, it's time to do more. And that's what I learned, like, with people, highly successful, highly wealthy. I'm like, why don't they just quit? It's just like that embracing fear is what makes people feel like they're alive. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, like I have a good buddy of mine who owns a restaurant, and he's the most risk taking guy ever. And I learned it from him. Like, he's like, dude, he's like, I love the rush. He's like, he loves that I might fail today feeling. Like, he
Yeah.
loves that. Now, I'm
Bro,
not there with it
there's
yet.
something
Like,
weird about it. There's something I feel
yeah,
like you
like,
are though in certain capacities. Like maybe not in
oh,
this area,
thanks.
but in other area of life, right? There's probably something where you realize like, yo, I am somewhat of a risk taker, or I'm willing to, be because right, like risk, I think maybe has like a negative connotation to it. So maybe it's just like, oh, I'm willing to be creative in this space, or I'm willing to do something that people haven't done in this area, right? Like,
Yeah.
bro, I see like you care about fashion, right?
Oh,
You
thanks. I
you
do.
you would
Yeah.
wear stuff. You would wear stuff that other people wouldn't wear, right? And you would
Yeah.
be willing to step out there and be like, oh yeah, no, let's do this. Let's take the. I don't care what what
You know
what
what's
what what
funny?
what what thing might come,
Yeah.
right?
You
And
know what's
that's something
funny?
because I know
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I wear some things, and I
Yeah.
know my friends will be like, yo, what is, bro? Listen, just because you're not willing to do it, I'm gonna do it, right?
I'm gonna do
And
it. Yeah.
that's your
I
differentiator.
yeah. I'm so sorry I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
because
no,
it's
no, you're
funny
good.
you
I want to
said
hear what you're
that.
saying. Yeah.
And this is actually what made me want to be a risk taker. So if my guy Corey's listening to this,
Mhm.
I give him credit for this. So it was one summer, I got those Feli Disruptor sneakers, because I
Okay.
saw it and I was like, yo, I never wore Feli a day in my life. Like, I was a
Okay. Here
Jordan
we
kid,
go.
man. Yeah, I was a Jordan big, but I was like, yo, I could do something with this. So it was a risk. When I tell you, I think I took a picture of it on my Instagram.
Hmm.
When I tell you, he fried me up for like a day straight. Now, I never, I actually threw, Like he bombed me up so bad, like I
Yeah.
actually threw them away.
Like,
Because he was right. He was right. He was like, "Yo, bro, take them Jones off.
yeah.
You look like a blah blah
Like,
blah blah blah." Blah." Like
what are
he
you
bullied
doing?
me. Yeah, but what I realized is like, hey, sometimes you don't know it's not a look until you try it. You know what I'm saying? And you learn along the way. And I learned that lesson. Like, hey, I'm not gonna wear feline disruptors anymore. You know what I mean? They weren't comfortable, but that's what kind of got me open to it. It's like, hey, like you gotta like you won't know until you try. And that's the thing with people with risk is like, okay, one, I believe in calculated risk and
Same.
but of course high risk high reward. Now
Hmm.
higher risk means you have to have higher capital. So what I'm learning is that there's always going to be a risk. So where there's failure, there's also reward too.
Hmm.
So this is actually, I don't want to have any secrets, but once I
Here we
learned
go.
that,
Yep.
but so like once I learned that my main goal is to always put my client first and to help them navigate their fear, like that's what we're doing. They're
Hmm.
scared, like our clients are scared and they're supposed to be. You want to know why? Because it's human nature to be risk averse. It's in our nature to avoid the things that are uncomfortable. Like that's just what it is.
Yep.
So, um, but what I'd like to tell, like, the thing is with high risk, high reward. But yeah, there's gonna be failure along the way, but in the grand scheme of things, the success is there. You
Hmm.
know, and also too, you have to look at what failure is, and that's another thing too. Is just like I think there's another reason why Batman's like my favorite superhero. It's just this concept of using people's fear against them. But I'm
Yeah.
like reverse. I'm reverse Batman. I'm gonna use your fear for the betterment of you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So um, I asked him like, what does failure look like to you? Like what, like you're afraid of the risk, and it's
Hmm.
just like and this actually goes out. Shout out to my team lead. I never asked this question, but I heard him say, I'm like, what does failure look like to you?
Yeah.
Let's unpack it.
Hmm.
Like let's unpack it, especially
Hmm.
when it comes to working with an agent, having to pay them. Like what about paying them the 3%? Do you fear?
Hmm.
Like and coming from an economics major, everybody always fears not getting the all the value for what it is they pay for.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do we deliver that value to you? And then, okay, as we're looking for the house and we're going, especially when we get ready to put the offer in,
Hmm.
it's human nature. I want to lowball it.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
even get frustrated anymore because that's what you're trained
Hmm.
to do. Now, what's the fear, Jared? I'm afraid of overpaying. Okay, what does overpaying look like for you? You know what I mean? Like what does somebody getting over on you look like to you?
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
I'm happy you're bringing up those points because that
Hmm.
is I was who was I having this conversation with? Somebody else when we were talking about something else business related, but it was really just drilling down in that fact that if you can uncover what those pain points are, if you can uncover like what those obstacles are that people are facing, what they're afraid to face, and just answer all those things, that's the foundation of pretty much any business, right?
Yeah.
And like we were saying, once we can simplify it and get back to just doing those basic things, which is figuring out, okay, what is it that our clients
Hmm.
actually have problems with? Not what we
Yeah.
want to sell them on,
Right.
they should be buying or they should be tapping into. What is your actual issue? What is your actual motivation? What is your actual hesitation? And let me figure out a plan to get through this with you.
Hmm.
It's it sounds crazy, but if you can just do that, right,
That's
that
it.
becomes the thing that opens the door. And I was having this conversation because I realized, like I said, we've worked in plenty of other jobs now where we realize, like, yo, that really is the only thing they hired us to do.
Yeah.
People would come in with a certain problem. They literally tell us, hey, this is the problem. And your job is to do what?
Solve
Solve that.
problems. Yeah.
Solve that problem, not to come up with some thing on the spot and figure out something out of thin air. It's no, we you came here because you know we have the products that you're looking for. Let me analyze your situation and then provide you with the service that can help you and that can
That's why I
solve that
love
solve
open
that thing.
houses. Yeah, that's why I
It,
love open houses
it's
because it
you
gives
know
me
why, yeah, you know why they're here. They're raising their hand saying, hey,
even
I'm
if it's a
I'm
question.
looking for a house.
Yeah. And yeah, it's literally problem solving, and that's why I said like that's what even the what under contract
Mhm.
uh makes me nervous because I like I don't say this in a pessimistic way, but like I go, it's probably the property manager in me,
Mhm.
where it's like I wake up every day expecting problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, what's broken? Who didn't pay rent?
But that's all I
What
said, yeah.
domestic dispute do we
Can't do it.
have? What turnovers are behind? What work orders do we need to do? So that kind of gave me the like, whatever your problem is, um, I'm here to solve. But also
Mhm.
too, you gotta accept losing, man. Like, so because I'll be honest, like the story that I get excited about it now, even though like I was like I don't want to say depressed, but I was really down about it. So I met this awesome couple at an open house. They're phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like we're still cool to this day. Um, but like I said, that's why I love people.
Yeah.
So we had like a well, I don't want to say it was a great consultation because they didn't sound anything, but that's neither here nor there.
Mhm.
But answer the questions. We had like an hour long conversation, and then was following up, and then the guy called me one day, and he was like, "Hey, I just want you know, like we're working with another agent,
Mhm.
but I wanted to thank you for everything. I think you're a great guy, and I think we should hang out, keep in touch." And I said, first and foremost, like honestly, thank you so much. And honestly, the relationship means more to me than anything. But that was a pain point, and I think that's what people are also afraid of too. Is like,
Yeah.
what if I do all of this and
And you don't get the business.
I
Yeah.
don't get it? But guess what? The thing about real estate is you're always supposed to be doing more. Now, like I said,
Mhm.
it crushed me because like it wasn't the check. It was see me like I want to be the guy that got you to the finish line. Like that's
Yeah.
what makes me excited.
Mhm.
Like now of course I want to be compensated along the way because I got bills. But
Yeah.
um what crushed me was dang, like I wanted to be the guy that helped you navigate all those
Mhm.
emotions. But guess what? What I learned was, hey, you know what? Maybe that hour long presentation didn't touch on any of the things that they cared about. Oh,
Mhm.
here's my CRM and da 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 da. Granted, we have a dope CRM on our team, so I'm not about to act like we don't like
Yeah.
we got it.
Mhm.
But what I learned was, and I talked to my mentor, my team lead about it, and I was just like, I don't think I asked enough questions. I don't think that I did this, and now guess what? That loss was my biggest gain. And then another loss I experienced too was a client I was helping out um didn't feel that I was trying to see him succeed because every offer we put in or he kept choosing houses that weren't accepting his financing.
Mhm.
Now, the client and I I'll be honest, we ended up having a falling out. um
It
he said
happens.
what he had to yeah we he said what he had to say, and I said what I had to say. So I was like, yeah, man, yeah, you know what I'm saying, like I'm my own business, man. I don't care about that. You're not about to
Mhm.
disrespect me. Then I spoke to my team lead about it. I was like, yeah, I was right. And he was like, where are you he said, well, and he said this to me, he said, was being right worth it? So in the moment,
It's
yeah,
like, what does that
man, ain't
get you?
nobody gonna
Yeah.
disrespect me.
Yeah.
Then I heard through the grapevine, yeah, he ended up closing today. I'm gonna hold you. Damn.
But you were right though.
But I was right though. I was right. I was right. Yeah, they're not taking your financing, and no, we can't do no bribe the listing agent. Da, 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 da. I was right. But you know what I realized? And that's and that another I have like like not a pseudo mentor, the first one, but like
Mhm.
a mentor of mine. He works for
Yeah.
KW. Like my guy. Hey Elon, I'm gonna drop his name. He said something to me one time. This is like months after. It was month after. Because I told him about it, and he was like, "Nah, man, you're wrong." I was like, "What do you mean I'm wrong?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, and he said to me, he said, "Oh, I can't believe I'm giving this gem away." He said to me, he said, "Never underestimate what people don't know." And I was like literally, like I don't know if anybody watches The Wire, but that gift
Yep.
they pulled from Weebay when Stringer told them that that chemo was actually a cop. I it changed my
Hmm.
life. Like it
Yep.
literally it changed my life. And I realized, but once again, I had to lose to gain that lesson. So now when clients are like freaking out and, oh, Jared, listen, talk to me. Like, what's going on?
Yep.
What
Let's
is
slow
it?
things down.
Yeah, what has you, I don't say that they're scared because, like people
Hmm.
take that offensively, but it's like, let's talk about it,
Hmm.
you know? And, but those lessons gave me the perspective that I'm going to carry on for the rest of my career and even for the rest of my life. And
Hmm.
honestly, that's what I love about the business. It's literally like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say it wasn't a loss, like those
Yeah,
are
of course.
two people I missed out
But you
on,
just learned so much though along the way.
but I learned so much. It's you versus you, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And and what I'm learning is the beauty and the consistency is um is giving you more opportunities, as they say, at bat to get it right.
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know and honestly, that's why I love it. Like I said, like, the phone terrifies me, but then when I look at the end of the week and I'm like, all right, cool, I did $250, I made like 45, 50 contacts.
Right. Yeah,
I
that
mean,
converts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I eventually want to get to a point. Now here's the thing. I know there's people out there that's doing 500 calls a week, or better. There's people probably doing
Hmm.
500 calls a day,
Yeah.
ending with like 150 to 100 contacts in a
Hmm.
day. Like, there's people out there, getting to it.
Yeah.
But like the more you get it wrong means you have more opportunities to get it right. And
Hmm.
I think, like, take the ego out of it. Every, like, this past year, just to circle it back around, this past year is just every day you're killing your ego.
Yeah.
Like you're killing your ego. Like, oh, why do I have to do this? It's like, well, listen, if the number one agent on my team is making calls,
Why
I'm
shouldn't you?
making calls.
Yep.
If the number two agent on my team is doing open houses and door knocking open houses, I'm doing it.
Yep.
If the number three agent on the team is, or even my team lead, like, if you're doing all these things, I'm gonna do it because I'm not special. I may be special to you, which is the beautiful thing about the relationships. But in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the game, sorry, I've just been watching a lot of Wire lately.
Yeah.
Nobody's special, no one's exempt,
Yep.
and that's the beauty of it. But
Hmm.
the simple thing that I'm learning that separates who I want to be from everyone else is the action. So honestly speaking, that's why the lawsuit doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare me. Like, it does not scare me. There's nobody on Instagram that could do all this fear monger stuff, because buyers need us and sellers need us. And you know
Yep.
exactly what I'm talking about. I think he's a great guy. But there's nobody out there that's gonna scare
Hmm.
me. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Because buyers need us. Of course, everybody wants listings. Of course. Oh my
Yeah.
God, bro. Like, of course I want a listing so I could be the guy to be like, my client's not interested, but of course,
Yeah.
but it's not going to scare me, because I'll be honest, if you were going up against your greatest fear, and the difference between you and having somebody to help you navigate that fear with transparency, honesty, commitment, and consistency was 20 grand, trust and believe you're going to cut that check.
Hmm.
But it's my job to earn it. And
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that's what this lawsuit is really going to do. Like, you got to really, really earn it now. You
Hmm.
may get lucky, but yeah, you get a $700,000 list deal, and the listing agent's like, yeah, my client's not paying that.
Hmm. It's like now what?
No, yeah, but now you got to go to the client like, hey, 21 now, trust and believe. If and the same thing with lawyers. It's like there's lawyers that are worth their salt and there's some that's not. Now
Hmm.
let's say you're going through a really bad divorce. Trust and believe. I promise you, Dr. Dre did not care about what he had to pay his lawyers because
Yeah.
you're going through a real stressful event and
Hmm.
you need somebody to help you navigate it. Now I'm not saying it didn't hurt, but I'm pretty sure when all that stuff got finalized, that dude almost died through his divorce. Dude had a brain aneurysm. But guess what? You had people to help you navigate a stressful, scary event. That's what real estate is. But you have to prove that I'm the guy or I'm the girl or I'm whoever I identify as. I'm the right person to help you navigate the emotions
Hmm.
that come with this transaction. Hence why I'm worth it. That's what it's all about. And so, and honestly, like when I found out that that's my why, you know, I don't get envious of other agents that are doing better than me for right now. I'm a competitive person. I want to be the best that I can be. I don't get jealous when I'm not doing what I'm doing. Like, when things aren't falling into place right now. It's not on your time. The game decides that you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, there like, so just interest rates, none of that scares me because guess what? People aren't gonna stop buying houses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just
Like
another thing to
people
pivot
are
around.
not gonna stop.
It's just another pivot you got to make.
Yeah, and that's also too, you might have to get a little bit more aggressive about
Hmm.
finding the people that do want to buy.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying. I'm not here to convince. I'm just here to provide
Hmm.
information.
Just see who's raising their hand out there.
That's it. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to go
So,
over my time, but
no,
but like,
bro,
sorry,
trust me,
that's the
you're good.
part.
I
That's the
have some of
part
these
that
episodes that go long now, like
yeah, no,
but
but
I know you said
that's
yeah,
what
you gotta go,
that
but
had to go.
mhm,
Jess, I'm sorry I'm running behind, but
mhm,
no, but that's what excites me about the game. Like,
mhm.
like honestly, like I'm fired up now. Like
Yeah,
I'm fired up now. Like
bro,
this
that's
is
what I'm
what.
saying, and that's how I know, like, people hear me. I definitely get passionate about topics, right? Definitely about real estate and business. So this is one thing I know, and you can hear it from people, right? So those people
Hmm.
who speak with the passion, who actually care about the clients they're serving, I know those are the people who will find a way, right? They'll
Yeah,
make it through because they'll keep making the moves they need to make to get to that point, like you said, because you know why you're doing this.
yeah,
And I think once you figure that out, everything else becomes so much easier because there's going to be those days you want to quit. There's going to be those days you're asking yourself, like,
man, I wanted to quit
God,
yesterday. That's why I
why am
went
I,
drinking.
bro? Last week, that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, God, why are we doing this? Why, what, like, what? Show me a sign. Show me a sign, right? Like, whatever it
Yeah,
is, send me that sign to let me know that this is why I'm supposed to be doing this. And you really do just get those moments that like check yourself and be like, okay, this is why I got to continue it, right? Like this is what I'm here for. So
yeah,
that's the thing I'm really focusing on. But I know you
yeah.
said you got to go, so I want to bring it here to the final sip and see what's the content you've been tapping into lately. I know you've been quoting The Wire a couple times,
Oh yeah.
so
The Wire, man. Season one, I think, is like the greatest. Like, I think season one of The Wire is art, man. Like, I honestly, I
mhm.
think the entire series is art, but
It's an incredible show.
it's like literally, like I really think they should have like a montage of
Mhm,
influential scenes, like put in a museum. Like
mhm,
it's like David Simon, everybody, like and it's eternal. So, but that's what made me realize. Like I've been getting so many life lessons and business lessons from it. And the one thing I'm learning is like the game is the game.
mhm.
You gotta put the work in and you gotta learn how to play and you gotta know how to play your position
Yep.
because as morbid as it sounds, the people that got on that show did not play their position.
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like they did not play their position. It's like, okay, you tried to go from a pawn to a queen too soon. You know what I mean? Or you're a queen and you wanted to be a rook. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? It's like you got to play your position. You got to find out where you provide value, and whatever that is what it is. And that's why, for me, um, you know, if there's one character that I relate to the most on the show, who I feel represents the transition in my life from where I went from doing working property management to now
Mhm.
being realtors, Lance Reddick's character, Lieutenant Daniels.
Okay.
It's like I'm trying to fit in this system, but no, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not what it's gonna be. And
Hmm.
I'm willing to risk it all to do what I feel is right, you know. And at
Hmm.
the end, I respected his position where he bowed out. He became commissioner. He was like, I ain't doing this. I'm out.
Hmm.
You know. So it's like, yo, the game is the game. It rewards and it punishes, but there's rules.
Mm.
That's it. You know, like it's rules. Find out where you provide value. Whatever your role is, follow the rules. The perks that come with it, take advantage of it, and also the accountability that comes with it. For example, the scene, and we can wrap on on this. So the scene that taught me accountability was season one, where Omar sticks up the stash house at the pit. Weebay wasn't yelling at Bodie.
Hmm.
Weebay wasn't yelling at Pooh. He got on D'Angelo. He's like, no, you the one that's on the, you the one that's running the pit.
Hmm.
You supposed to be on lookout.
Yeah.
Oh, but Stinkum, nah, man.
It's like
Like
you're responsible for
you got
this.
$20,000 coming in, D, and you at a GD sandwich shop. I
This is
don't
your
want to be
job.
at the sandwich shop, bro. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like, no, like I'm holding my post, and whatever comes with it, the good and the bad, whatever comes about that's good, great. I take responsibility. Whatever that comes bad that happens, I take responsibility. And that's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at with it right now.
Mm.
So um yeah, The Wire. Like if you want to learn about life outside of whatever religious creed you believe in, watch The Wire. Like everything
Mm.
about life, relationships, money, business, it's
It,
all
it-
in The Wire.
it's all there in
It
the wire.
it's all in The Wire. Like literally, I could never watch another TV show a day in
Hmm.
my life. If I have The Wire, I'm good.
It's like one of those shows like The Wire, The Sopranos.
Oh, The Sopranos. Yeah,
Bro, Snowfall's like a recent one that like
yeah,
I love that just it checks off all those boxes.
yeah,
So yeah, I definitely appreciate that content rec, and I won't hold you up too
yeah.
long. So I'll send it
I
home with my
appreciate
final
you.
my
Yeah.
rec. So guys, I've been checking out Monk. It's also an older show. I don't know if you've seen Monk, but it's on
Oh,
Netflix now.
what something Terry or Toby Shalhoub,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
detective that has OCD.
Bro, I love that show more than anything.
Oh wow, that's hilarious.
I'm like, this is because I have a whole bunch of weird quirks like that, right?
Hmm.
Like little like OCD kind of things. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man. But I also love like detective work, that kind of stuff, being able to
yeah,
uncover the crime. And you talk about somebody who's able to do something at such a high level, but also like really just be his weird
his weird
out
self. Yeah,
just ridiculous self. It's the perfect combination. It's such
yeah,
a funny show. And if anybody's looking for something, like lighthearted that they can follow along and kind of just like throw on at the end of the day, it is such it fills that type of content gap. And like we said, those days where we're feeling stressed out and work is just making us sit there and be like, why am I doing this? I feel like we need those moments
yeah.
of
Yeah,
we're just like, let me take a breather, let me laugh at something real quick, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why I love recommending that kind of content
yeah.
for people. So guys, check out Monk on Netflix. Let me know if you've already seen it, because I just finished the series, so I loved it. So that's what I got for you guys. Any final words, Jared? I know we said a lot here.
Yeah, no, honestly, thank you so much, man.
Oh,
Honestly,
absolutely.
every time I come on here, it just reminds me of how great it is to, like, honestly, I'm always grateful for where we're at with how we started. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
We don't have to rehash that story out
Yep.
now. But honestly, every time I talk to you, I leave motivated, and of course, I don't think like motivation is what gets you, like, you have to do it every day, because some days you don't feel motivated,
Hmm.
and you
Of
don't want to
course.
put in
Yeah.
yourself to do it. But honestly, every time I come on here, I just leave ready to run through some walls, man.
I love that.
Like
I love that.
seriously, man. So I just say thank you for what you do. Honestly, you still continue to inspire me to get back in my content creation, and
Let me know how I can help, man. Let me know how I can
for
help.
sure, for
Hmm.
sure. So just say, like, bro, I really love, like, who and what you've been in my life lately, man. Like seriously. So I just want to say, like, thank you, and I'm grateful for you, man. So
Oh,
thank you.
the feeling is definitely mutual. Like I said, anytime we can do this, it is appreciated. Like we got to
Yeah,
make more time. I said to do this more
yeah,
consistently in person. So that is like one of the things I'm working on this year is to just be more present, right? Like I said,
yeah,
in life and those different things. So definitely, man, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you again for taking the time, guys. I appreciate y'all for listening. So as always, stay tuned, stay curious, and enjoy your first sip.
My man. All right, later, bro.